Welcome back to the podcast again this week. We're joined by, I think, Israel's top player, at least
Yay,
according
top
to
player.
at least according to the WTC
That,
results, which we all know are the
that's
final
something
results.
that's something I never thought I'll hear, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
nice.
Sagi is joining us today. He's the second part of the trifecta of the WTC hierarchy at the moment. After we spoke to Andre in the last podcast, we've brought Sagi on to hear his thoughts on the WTC, how he got into Warhammer, and yeah, welcome and thanks for coming on, Sagi.
Hi everybody. Yeah, so I'm Sagi. I've been in the scene for I think about since la I think for a year and a half now because I started on more or less playing the game, let's say it like that, on May 2024, which is more or less a year and a half ago. I always liked Warhammer. I've been painting models for round about 2 years before I started playing. And basically, the only reason that I didn't start playing when I started painting was because I didn't really know that people in Israel are actually playing the game. I wasn't
Ah,
familiar with the game. I didn't, I knew there was a game. I've been watching some videos online, but I didn't really know like that people in Israel are actually familiar with the game or anything. And I was more like basically at the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm having fun painting. It wasn't very serious. And then at some point, I went to a geek shelter. I found out this place existed, so I went there. I said hello, blah blah blah. I like painting Warhammer, and they told me, listen, there is this WhatsApp group that you can join that has people that actually play that game. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then I joined, and then I joined the WhatsApp group, and I was greeted by a lot of people. And then little by little, I started realizing like
into the rabbit hole.
yeah, exactly. I met Dima, I met Do, I met all of those people that were really enthusiastic about, the game and what it represents in terms of actual gameplay, I call it, because there is a lot of people and it's completely fine, enjoying the hobby in their own way. But I was always a competitive player because I came from competitive computer games like StarCraft 2 and before that Warcraft 3. And there was a lot of games that I was competitive at and I was
Mhm.
playing for a long time when I was a kid. And I was always enjoying the competitive aspects of games that are, in my opinion, meant to play in a competitive environment. So at the beginning, obviously, I was starting to learn the game, and then I realized that there is like all types of ways to play it, and I was obviously interested in getting better at it. So, I started here and there. I started to learn. I watched videos. I learned about how the game works, and it was really like it was when I joined up. It was really at the start of 10th edition. I mean, it wasn't like, yeah, basically was the start of 10th edition. I didn't really get to play too much at the Leviathan era, what we call it. Only really got into the actual gameplay in Pariah Nexus. But
Because you've got the
overall,
box. I've seen you carrying the Leviathan box
yeah,
around.
I did buy like I said, when I bought everything because I was very, let's call it I was very enthusiastic. I was very, hyped about stuff. But at that point, I was still like, I didn't know the rules. I was doing like, all these, casual fun games. And I was trying to realize like who is against who, because I didn't actually know about how the game works in terms of like how the mechanics work. And I was basically, find my place around the game, and I was still realizing like what I want to play. And at that point, I was like really starting. And I think like a couple of months later, when I did a couple of games, I realized more or less like how I want to play. And then I started coming to tournaments. I started, meeting up with people, playing in TTS, I think came up a bit later, but still. But yeah, that was more or less the point where I started, getting more interested in the competitive side and improving my gameplay. And
So
it was
you've
supposed.
got like a deep knowledge in such a short time of like
Yeah,
so many armies, which is like I think that's the thing that I think impresses me the most in terms of seeing the way that you just basically like you've got the data sheets of all you know my army better than I know my
yeah,
army.
but I think, this kind of knowledge, it comes from two aspects. First of all, of course, it's experience, because when you play against a lot of armies, I usually also research before I play someone, or before I play an army or detachment, I do a small research about like the army and the detachment, like what's the stratagem, what's the rules, what's the things that to watch out for. And it's not like it doesn't usually take too long. It's like I sit in front of, I don't know, Wikipedia or whatever for like 30 minutes and just read like
Hmm.
what can this army do. And after playing an army like once or twice, you more or less know the tricks, or not all the tricks, but you remember the important bits, which is what are the
Stuff that hurt you,
stratagems.
yeah.
Can they advance and charge? Can they do some weird tricks like Eldari shenanigans? Can they, I don't know, have some weird rules that they can pop up in your turn, which is the things that you mostly need to watch out for, like all the rules that happens um, in your turn that the army can do are the ones that you need to, know and watch out for, because those are the ones that you need to play around. And yeah, and then after a game or two, you mostly realize like what can the army do. Obviously, you don't always remember all the data sheets by heart, but there is a lot of correlation between a lot of data sheets. For example, Sisters and Eldari are like toughness free models with a free up save. It's something that goes like Space Marine models, there are free up saves and toughness 4. I mean, if you know the concept, it mostly goes over all the other, because they don't really, make new stuff. It's all the same. You just need to remember the concept, like Space Marine bodies, tier 3 bodies, tough, like flying vehicles are toughness 9.
Okay.
Non-flying vehicles are usually toughness 10, unless they are like the two up save vehicles, which are toughness 11. There is a lot of correlation between all of it, that
Okay.
once
So
you
the
get the
numbers
idea.
you're saying the numbers are actually like very similar across
Yeah,
like
yeah.
across all the
So
armies, the numbers are the same, they just give them different names.
exactly, it's more
Hmm.
or less the same. You think about it like as a type of model. Well, that's a flying monster model. Okay, usually a flying monster model usually is toughness 9, because it's a flying. If it wasn't flying, it's toughness 10. So it's like this concept that goes along all the armies usually, not always, but 80% of the time that's like that. So that's how you remember it in your brain. You don't really remember that this specific model, like this named model, has this statistic. You remember this type of model has this general statistics, and then you ask your opponent, is it really toughness 9? And
Mm,
usually the answer is yes. This is the
okay.
way that I remember stuff.
So you've just
But
given us the trick.
yeah, but again, it's not that important, because your opponent's data sheets is the stuff that you don't really have to remember, because you can just ask him on the fly, like, what does this guy like statistics? The thing
Hmm.
that are more important, like I said before, is what your opponent do in terms of gameplay mechanics. If he can advance and charge, then you need to know that you need to keep distance. If he can, I don't know, reactive move, then you know that you need to keep
Apidani and stuff
outside
like
of
that.
9. And usually this kind of stuff, I also ask my opponent to remind me, which is fine, by the way. You can always ask your opponent to remind you of those rules, because that's usually how you play Warhammer. But still, those are the kind of things that are important for your gameplay, because everything else you can just ask at the spot, and they don't really actually take a long time for your brain to, like, you don't have to resolve it as part of your strategy, because if the model can reactive move, then you need to think about how you move your guys around him in order
Hmm.
to avoid that. But when the opponent's like if the opponent's toughness is 4 or 5, usually it doesn't matter that much
Hmm.
in terms of your strategy.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so like I said, I got the experience from playing games, because that's how you get your experience. I had all those guys that were very enthusiastic about, and I was also, because I met Dor, I met Andre, I met Sergey, I met all those guys that were very enthusiastic about Warhammer and were trying to improve. And then I did heard about the guys going to WTC because more or less right when I joined was the time where they went to the WTC for the second time, and I heard like them talking in WhatsApp about the preparation, and I even landed some models to Yoash to some Thousand Suns model that he was missing, so he could have the models. And yeah, so I was very excited about it. I felt like, yeah, it's cool that you go to tournaments and stuff. It was very exciting. And then yeah, and from here to there, we just started playing, improving, and I think everything became more serious, as we call it, when they actually invited me to or asked me to take part in the next year's WTC. It happens, I think around. I mean, I remember before that because I did go to what's it called?
Alpine.
Yeah, Alpine Cup, and before that, I did go to the Cyprus GT, which was
Mm,
also fun with the guys, and it was very fun. And I mean, we did like in the Cyprus GT, yeah, we did get some decent scores against really good players. And in Alpine Cup, we also had a lot of fun. We didn't get the best scores, but we still got some wins. And after that, obviously, we thought about, because we never had a lot of players interesting in WTC, so we always had to find people. More we had to find than we had to, because there were very few people that actually came and said, okay, I want to come to the WTC. We always had to go and ask around who wants to join, and
hmm.
then they can commit. It was like those two question that we always had to. So I was interested, so I started practicing, and yeah, and it became something that I'm very excited for, and
Yeah,
I
it
was
was very,
excited
and I
for.
mean, you've also one of the things that was pretty cool when I started, at least, was that you were also organizing a lot of the tournaments. I mean, you were or TOing, I should say, a lot of the tournaments.
Yeah, because
I
I felt
mean,
that's something that's really missing in the tournaments. Because I came before I when I was start when I was newer to the game, I did come to one or two tournaments, and then I saw like watching videos, and I went to Alpine Cup, and I went to those tournaments, and I saw like the fact that like how the management of how you manage a tournament, like how the tournaments are ongoing. And then something that was really missing from our tournaments was really something to take charge or like TO. And basically have more time dedicated to TOing or to judge the tables, because there is a lot of things that make the environment like
more
better as playing the
approachable.
game, because
Yeah.
Warhammer, like I said, is a game of communication. And when there is bad communication, or when people, don't understand the rules or do a lot of like those shenanigans, that because there is a lot of times when newer players, you can, yeah, I won't call it strictly cheating, but you can, go over the head with your rules or with
Yeah,
your
because
explanation.
there's so many
Yeah,
rules
yeah. And at
remember.
that point, I mean, I think making the experience better is making sure that those cases don't happen, and monitoring the problematic tables, and making sure people have better experience from the game. Because when I went to Alpan Cup, for example, and not even Cyprus. But Cyprus, I guess it was a lot of very experienced players there. But in Alpan Cup, we also met a lot of I won't say casual, but they were less
More
um,
relaxed.
less competitive. Like yeah, they're more relaxed, less hyper competitive players in the lower tables. Obviously, when we lost a couple of games, then we got them, and it was like more, people like fathers, people that have families, and they can get to the weekend just to go and have some Warhammer
Ah,
time. And those people, like, they are so relaxed, and it's so much fun, and they know how to play by intent. It's something that comes very natural to them. I don't think it's something that happens because the environment enforces it, not because people told them that's how you play the game,
mm,
just because everybody around them play like that, and they learn by example. So, and I think that's something that we are really missing here, because in ours very small pond of very few players. It's basically either super casual players that don't care about getting better and just play however they think they should play. And it more and when they come to an actual tournament, it's more likely than not makes them have a bad experience, which is I think I don't think it should be like that. And
Yeah.
then there is on the other spectrum is the guys that are super competitive but are very bad at remembering or using their own the rules.
Ah, okay.
And that's I think in my opinion it's even worse because if you know like you shouldn't, and I think Travi from Tactical
Ah,
Turtle,
from Tortoise, yeah.
yeah, had a very interesting video about it, about players weaponizing their own ignorance of the rules just to weaponize it against the player, because I don't know that rule, so I'll play it wrong until you're gonna remind me, which is
Ah,
bad. And a lot of people do it. It's the same players every time. And those are the kind of things that we can stop by just teaching people how to play the game
yeah.
and making sure that people are playing it properly, or basically um, making playing that way more fun or viable, or I don't know.
Like that's the
But
way
don't,
that,
don't,
like if everybody plays like that, then
yeah,
I think
exactly.
it's
If
also
everybody
like
play,
increasing the level of knowledge in the community of the rules and how to play and what,
yeah, it's
like
not just
playing by
about that.
intent.
Yeah, I think it's more like making sure that this is the norm and not the
Hmm.
outlier. So if
Yeah,
everybody plays like that and you don't, you feel left out or you feel that like you're playing the game wrong.
yeah,
And it's not necessarily playing it wrong, it's just playing it like an ass. And
yeah.
and play and there are people that play the game like an ass. And because we have such a small environment, it's not necessarily like that impacting on the players because we play more or less the same guys every time.
Hmm.
But when in the wider world, if they went outside and they went to tournament, those kind of players are shoved out because people know them around and just don't want to play with them.
Don't want to
And it's
play.
something that you see like those kind of occurrence just go down because people don't want to be singled out like that. And
Mm.
that's something that we want to achieve. And that was one of the reason I wanted to be a TO that actually don't play. Like I've been to at least 3 tournaments right now that full-time tournaments, even the one before last team tournament. That one I actually played, but I was very like, let's say, I played because I had to. I was planning not to play, but then we had dropouts, so I had to play. But I was playing it very like, offhandedly. I wasn't like most of my time was spent running around the tables, and
Yeah,
then I had the full tournament that I was literally just sitting on a chair watching the tables and not playing at all. And I think that was a very good tournament because we had a lot of we had a very I had a lot of questions. I had a lot of people coming to me asking me stuff or come to the table, look at this. And that kind of thing you don't really see when there is like either a judge that is not really a judge or a playing judge or someone that is just there because sometimes, for example, Dima does that because Dima organizes the tournament, especially in Haifa where he's just sitting around, but he's not actively, TOing,
yeah,
which is a difference. And you can see the difference because if you know there is a TO, people will come to you. If there
yeah,
is nobody and you have to actually put an effort to find someone that help you, people won't do it because you are there is time. You are very nervous because the clock is running and stuff like that, and you don't want to waste your own time. And so
yeah.
that's basically the reason that I think that we need more actual TOs.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's also something I'm trying to help out with jumping in as a tier in the new, like on the novice tournaments a little bit. So, and it's also a cool experience to be on the side. Like at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I really want to play a game of Warhammer now. When you see people like
Yeah, it's
it's nice.
very, there is that feeling that when you watch other people play, that I want to play that game.
Yeah,
I want
yeah,
to be
yeah.
part of it. And there is a lot of stuff that you can see. I always tell myself to shut up Because
Yeah.
when I look at the table sometimes, and I see those moves, and I say, you could have done that
Just
differently. You could
move
have moved
there.
over
Yeah.
there. And I was like, shut up. Don't. That's not
Yeah.
your game,
Yeah.
And it's like this habit of mine that when I look at something and people, do things that I think can do better, not because they are bad or they are bad moves, just because I think they could be optimized and stuff like that. It's just in my
Yeah.
brain. And
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. So then basically after that, you got to the WTC. You guys went to the WTC.
Yeah, the
Uh,
WTC, I think, was one of the
and
most
this was
amazing
your first
experiences.
one, correct?
Yeah, it was the first one. Although, because I already went to Alpine Cap, and Alpine Cap is basically it's the same organizers, it's the same venue, and it's the same basically even the same place we were hosted, like the same hotel, the same everything, the same crew. And so basically, it wasn't the environment around and the people, it wasn't new because it's almost exactly like Alpencap, although Alpencap was a bit smaller in like amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
But the
The
let's say
feeling.
the feeling because of how it's like the people all the super all the best players in the world, it's different than than Alpine Cup because you see all those teams, you see the people with wearing the team shirts, you have the the experience, like the hype, and everybody is talking, and that was very like I enjoyed Alpine Cup very much as well, but WTC had a different vibe. It was like you're coming to an actual competitive like sports tournament, just the
Mm.
players are playing with toy soldiers, basically. But it's the same feeling as like when you come to a football match and you watch, gonna there all the people are very hyped, basically. And so we had a hard time filling up 8 players, let's say it like that, because
Mhm.
even the ones that actually wanted to come, most of them couldn't afford it or didn't have like the time to fly and back. So we had to we had to compromise and find players that are like they are not the like I won't say they are not the best players, but they have the motivation and willingness to improve and play as a team because there is a big difference in playing in a team tournament than in playing in a singles tournament.
Singles. Yeah.
Playing singles is basically you're playing for your own. You make your own decisions based on what you think is best, and you're trying to win. And if you don't win, it doesn't matter how you lose. If you lose, you lose. It's not like it matters if you lose by 10 points or you lose by 20 points. Because if you lose the game, it's the same thing because you're not getting any like bonuses for getting extra points when you lose. And playing in a team is different because every point matters. I mean, even if you lose, and sometimes you are sent to lose, you are
Yeah.
sent as you get picked as your matchup to lose because you're taking a powerful player and you want to basically
Blunt
take
them.
him off the equation, so he won't be against your better players that can put up points. And if you can lose, if you can get a couple of points off him, then in the team's opinion, you won. Doesn't
It's a
matter if you
win.
actually lost.
Yeah.
So we went a lot. We talked about a lot with our players that most of was a lot of them that were designated. We call them blunters, basically to blunt the strong players, was sending them to lose against a very strong player and try to get a couple of points off him. So
Okay.
we practiced that thing, and there were a couple of people that was their job in the team. And I think that the mindset of losing for the team is something that not a lot of players have, and a lot of players get frustrated when they lose. And I think that our team had one of the best like feeling around like the team spirit basically, where people were sent to lose and they knew they're gonna lose and they lost, but they were still very happy with their result and we were happy with their result, and that was amazing because like
They still
sometimes
got the result. They
yeah.
got like the result that they were supposed to get. Like even if you put it
Yeah,
down as a loss.
it's not just about getting the result. It was about their own, let's say, mental feeling.
Hmm.
Because Some players just lost and then lost again and then lost again. You lose like 3 or 4 games in a row. It's mentally,
It's hard, yeah.
yeah, it can harm you mentally. I mean, you just feel like, okay, I'm losing. Then I suck. I don't like a lot of things that can dissuade you from continuing to play the way the team needs you to play.
Hmm.
And we didn't have that, which was amazing. I think Noam and Joe and Ben, basically the guys that lost a lot for the team were doing an amazing job, and a lot of our wins were specifically because of them. And I can specifically remember our last match where we sent Noam against the Eldari player, which was one of the strongest players. It was, I think, against the Slovakian team, and we knew he was going to lose. And we only needed him to get a couple of points, and he got 5 points off him. And
Wow.
those 5 points made the win because
Wow.
those 5 points.
Okay.
It was amazing because it doesn't matter. Like I could have, like it doesn't matter if some other guy was winning like by 2 more points. The points, even if you won or lost, it doesn't matter. What matters is the points that you gain. So the total addition of the points is what matters, not if you won or lost the game.
Yeah, that's
And
pretty cool. That's actually that's an interesting story. Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
heard
and there
that
was a lot of those across
first a few
the
days of
entire
playing.
tournament. I think I should basically the beginning was when we started the tournament. You go into the pod stage where you have the pods that were drawn online. Usually a couple of weeks before the tournament, they did this shuffle where they drew the teams for the pods. And basically, you have the teams that are designated tier one, tier two, tier three, and tier four. Basically, how good the team is based on past performance in WTC. And we were obviously tier four team because our last year performance were not very good, and there were teams that are much better than us. So every pod gets drawn in a pool of like one tier two, one tier like tier one team, tier two team, tier three, and tier four. 4 teams in each pod, and that's the way it's shuffled. And then on the first day, the tier one team plays against the tier four team, and the tier three plays against the tier two. And then on the other day, you have the reverse,
Hmm.
matches. So we got drawn into the USA pod. And our first
Team
game of the
America.
WTC was against Team USA, which is probably one of the best teams in the world. Yeah, I can say with and basically the superstars of the USA. You have John Lennon, Nick Nenevati, Folger, Anthony Vanella, and it was there was I can't remember the other teams, but basically. And of course, the guy I played against, Sam Pope, which is probably the best Tyrannid player in the world. So basically, the best team. So every evening before the games, we had this meeting where we did the pairing and we talked about the match and what we want to achieve and everything. So we said, okay, first game, basically USA, we don't expect much. It's basically a fun match for us. We don't expect to win. We don't expect anything. I mean, if we get some points, that's fine, that's cool. But that's basically an introduction game to the WTC. Just aim to have fun. We don't have any, general expectation because these players are like 100 times better than us, and
Mhm.
it's fine. That's how it's supposed to be. And then yeah, so that's the mindset that we went into the game, and that was basically also the mindset that we went when we went into Denmark. I mean, we did want like a win or two, but it's the same mindset. Denmark is also a very good team, and Bulgaria we were more like, okay, maybe we can win or get a draw or maybe win, but it was
Scratch some
very,
more
very,
points.
very low expectations at that point. Most of our expectation was set into the after the pod stages. Well, basically, after the pod stage is basically Swiss. So the losers against the losers, the winners against the winners. It's the same thing as a normal tournament.
Hmm.
So when we went to the USA, I mean, I was very excited. I got to play Sam Pope, which I was following a lot when I'm following his games. I've seen a lot of his games. He's I'm an amazing player. and obviously the other guys, and Dor got to play against Follier, and I think
Yeah,
Ben got to play
Ben
against
got
John
the
Lennon.
shirt. Yeah, he
Ben
got
got
the
the
shirt.
shirt, he got the Captain America shirt. It was amazing. Yeah, and
He got
yeah,
the
and he had
shirt
a
and the
very
nickname. Yeah.
yeah, and also Brian Saif, the TS player, also very famous, very good player from Team USA, got to play against Dima, and that was very interestingly one of the matches that we hope to get
Ah,
because Dima's list is a very interesting list. It's basically a Tau list, but it's the Krut with gorillas. It's something that I discovered when I was watching some tournaments, and it was the GW terrain. Basically, it's not a list that is meant for WTC, but I saw that guy playing that list, and I thought it was really a cool list. And when I saw how powerful it is against people that are not used to playing against it, I was like, I have to show that to Dima. And I tell Dima, look at this. This is a fun list. You have to play that. And Dima was like very excited. I mean, he saw it. He was very excited, because he didn't never play the list like that. And we were, practicing and coming up with stuff. And I noticed that Thousand Suns have a really, really, really hard time against that list for a lot of reasons that there's no point in getting into it because I played with him a lot, and the best I could get against him was a draw or like a small win-loss. And when I tried to play aggressive, I always lost like super big. So we were very excited to get into buy and side because I told them they underestimate that list a lot. And if he overcommits, if he goes aggressive against you, which he will, because I know how Thousand Suns play, he will get fucked. And that's exactly what happened. It was crazy. And he was never expecting it. He was actually talking about it later on podcasts and stuff, that list is cancer for Thousand Suns.
oh
And I was
yeah.
telling Dima about it, yeah. And when in my game specifically against some Pope was, I mean, I honestly, because I think I had one game against GSC of like before the WTC, and it wasn't against a very good play, against a very good GSC, and it wasn't even the detachment because it wasn't even a Host of Ascension, which was the super strong detachment. It was some weird like TTS GSC that I don't know. Basically, I had no experience against them.
Hmm.
And when I went into the game, I was more or less okay. Let's just react to what because I know he's going to try to jail me out of the out of the midfield because it was supply drops, the one with the disappearing
Ah, where
objective,
you get
and
more.
he
Okay.
and he wants to make sure that I don't step on any of the no man's land objectives. He's just gonna send the trucks in. He's gonna jail me completely, and he's going to make sure that I stay in my deployment zone and he scores the get a high score. I mean, I just don't score anything, and it's a good thing that I brought my robots because those are the small robots saved me because I infiltrated them forward and I blocked the scout on my side of the expansion, and he had to somehow
Come around.
deal with them because he couldn't block me from getting to my natural, and then he didn't even want to kill them because of the stupid challengers that are now gone, thank God.
Ah, we
But he
still have
got
the
Bring It
challenger
Down and
card.
some other secondary, and those robots are basically vehicles. So you know if he's gonna kill that robot, he's gonna get Bring It Down, and then he's gonna give me a challenger card. And he
Ah.
didn't want to do it, so he left the robot alive. And then the next turn, I'm getting area denial, so I just desperate escape over his stuff and just stand in the middle, and I'm getting 5 points for that robot. And like that game, and then turn two, which was the thing that made him lose the game, was basically overcommitted, like everything on the board, all the reserve, everything in the middle is going to shoot Magnus with everything he had, and Magnus didn't die. Just before
Wow.
to die, he was left on 2 wounds, and then on my turn, I killed 70% of his army in one shooting phase, and it was fucking insane. Like every unit that shot killed a big unit because he was standing on objective, he was standing everywhere. He was standing on
Ah,
objectives, he
because
was like stuff.
you get the
And my
bonuses.
rubrics just came out, and my demon prince came out, and everybody is rerolling everything because he is also a psyker unit and all those shenanigans. And I was just shooting him down. And then at that point, he went into containment mode, which showed like he was like super good because he managed to turn a super devastating loss into a 12-8, which was crazy. But again, it was super exciting to beat a player of this like level. I wasn't expecting it, and a lot of it had to do with his mistakes, but still, me and Dima got the wins, and we were super happy about it. I think it was more than we ever expected against the US.
Yeah, that and I mean
Um,
that was the start of a very good tournament for you because the rest of the
yeah, it was
tournament
amazing because
you were putting
that
up some
basically,
really good results, you know?
yeah, that paved the way to the next matches because I think it had a lot of psychological like for the opponents that faced us because against Denmark on the second game where I lost, it was also a very close loss. It was 11-9. It was against GSC because I said, okay, you faced the GSC and you won, you can do it again, right? And I was saying, no, it's not. I
Uh,
thought I've told him it's like it's a free, it's gonna be a draw, like a drawish matchup, and I was more or less right. I mean, it was 11-9, and it was, I mean, it was his win, but it was a very close loss for him. And then against Bulgaria, I just completely smashed their AdMac like 20-0. It was crazy. And I think from that point on, every opponent that faced me was super scared. And I don't know if it was super scared because of the fact that I was playing Thousand Suns or because they just, looked at
because I saw the results.
the result of previous matchup and he was just, okay, send this guy to try to lose low against him. The same
Ah,
way we did against
okay.
their good players. So that
So they
was the
were
way
sending their
I didn't
blunters
have.
against you.
Yeah, yeah. So exactly. So in the, I think against South Africa, I did play their best player, but I don't think it was intended. It was more or less like luck of the draw. But after that, like the other free matchup after South Africa, it was basically like, okay, have this guy, and this guy is like, okay, I'm here to lose, but I hope I don't lose too much. And that's like the way it was against everybody, like against Cyprus, against Northern Ireland, and against Slovakia. In the end, against Slovakia, I did get the player that I played against in Alpine Cup, the same
Ah,
guy.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I know him, the same Necron player. And back then I played against him when I was still on the index, and now it was different. And he told me that he's very scared because back then I did a draw against him when Thousand Suns were horrible, and now they are strong. So he's scared about what's going to happen when Thousand Suns are strong. And he always told me that he knows I'm a good player, and he's like, yeah, I'm like, I just want to, get some points and stuff like that. So that's basically how the entire tournament went. And I think that even in before, because I did play in what was it called? The War Masters, which was the singles tournament that happens before the WTC. It's basically, just a singles tournament where usually the some of the teams are using as a practice run, and some just, the coaches and people that are coming along, can have fun and play and still come with their team, which is pretty nice. And also there, I did a pretty decent run when I did like 3 wins and 3 losses. Recently in the tryhard tournament, we also faced them as a team,
Hmm.
and we did a draw against them. I think we did a draw. Yeah, we did a
Yeah,
draw
we
against.
did. We got the
Yeah,
draw.
and it's the same guys, and we keep meeting. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's
So
good.
I think I can summarize like the experience overall of like I enjoyed it, not just the games, but also
The
the
interactions.
feeling, the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like people were having fun, and even when people lost, I don't think I had a single bad experience on the table. I mean, sometimes people, got mad because their roles, they fucked up their roles, and they got mad for a moment, but it never lingered. People were like, end of the game, good job, man. It was fun playing against you. You did great, and stuff like that.
So,
This game is supposed to be fun, and if you're not enjoying it, if you're getting mad, that's not what should be happening.
yeah.
Because and I enjoy a lot. I enjoy more losing to people that that I can learn from them or that play in a way that is enjoyable than beating people that get super mad because they lost. And for whatever reason, if they think they lost because the dices or they think that something happened that should have, whatever. Like, I don't think people should get upset. And if people get upset, that's the one thing they should work on when they're playing this game, because
Hmm.
there's literally it's a dice game at the end of the day, and if you lose, and you can always get better. And I think people should strive to get better. I think that's part of the game. And even if you don't want to get better, at least enjoy, because if you're not enjoying it, then not in the right place.
What is your role in this year going forward to like the next WTC?
Yeah, so the way that we more or less split the responsibility between the three of us, Andre is basically the captain, the actual captain, like the one that represents us externally. He's going to represent us as the against the WTC management. He's going to be part of the captain's meeting with the WTC and everything outside. But the responsibility is basically so. Sergey is also going to help with organizing the matrices and the logistics. There is a lot of logistics to do with WTC, not only the merchandise that we call it, that we usually make per year, which was previously Do's job. It was also, the flights, the logistics of when to go, the schedule, the meetings, all of those, things. They take a lot of planning and organizing. So he's on top of that. And I'm basically in charge of practice and player improvement, let's say it like that, or players' motivation and stuff. So my job is basically to make sure that obviously the people that wanna join, are on top of their game, because it's not about being the best player. It's about having the motivation and willingness to improve. And it doesn't just means playing the game, because obviously, if you want to improve, you need to play the game. But you need to have the motivation and the fact that when we actually, we want you to come to play scrims against some country on TTS, even though you don't like TTS because you prefer playing, physically, and we want you to join this matchup here, this matchup there. It's just just putting the effort, because as long as you put the effort, you're going to improve even if you don't become the best. So that's basically the job, just making sure people play the game and people improve, and obviously to pick the best people that we think together are going to make the team, because at the end of the day, it's going to be 8 people. There is also spots for those that want to come and help support the team, obviously. And I think it's a great opportunity for anybody that is interested to have that never been into a 40K tournament and wants to be a part of it. Obviously, you can join the War Masters and play before
Hmm.
the actual WTC, and then you can. I mean, even if you come, so it's not like you're coming and you're not doing anything. You're coming to the War Masters, and then you're joining, helping the teams for another 3 days, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, I think the coach role in the team is actually also
Yeah,
important.
it's very important because we were one of I think, the only team in the entire WTC that didn't have a coach. I mean, it's not like about, it's not just the fact that we need someone to help around, and also have like move information, like have information between the tables and know when to push or when not to push. It's a team's tactic. I won't get into it, but basically someone that can organize the team play when the actual games are being played, because a lot of times people are like invested in the old games and they have no clue what's happening on the other tables. If people
Hmm.
are winning or losing, or what is needed if you need to push and if you need to get some points, or if people are already winning. So all you have to do is to just try to
Just
hold
hold.
down hold the fort and just not lose too hard, which is very important. And we didn't have that. We just, we played our games. We just hope for the best, and you can do it better. It's like a level up from
Yeah.
how we played in this WTC. I mean, we did do good, and it's mostly because of the people that played, obviously, but we could improve it just by having a couple of more people that are just invested into helping us, and
Hmm.
that's nice. And overall, I think that this year we want to try to get more people that are committed. And when I say committed, I mean they have the time and willingness to actually perform, and not just coming because they have this vacation slot and they can come, but actually
Hmm.
put a bit of effort to improve their game and then get better results than last year. Because getting better result than this year is going to be very difficult
Yeah.
because our results was really good for a team of our level. I can say it
Hmm.
like I can say it already. We are a level 4 team and we performed to a level of nearly a tier 2 team. It was very close, but top tier 3 on
Hmm.
the place 25, and we beat tier 3 and above teams. And
That does also mean though that next year in the pods, probably
I'm
Israel
not
will
sure
be.
because you need to have consistency. I can't remember the way that they calculate it, but I think we need to sustain this for another year at least for us to actually get an upgrade.
Hmm.
And for now, I think it's better that we stay at tier 14 because if we get upgraded, we're gonna suffer.
Why? Because then you play a tier four team, and
Yeah, we're technically gonna play a tier 14 in
it'll be better, won't it?
yeah, no, but we're technically gonna play a tier 4 team in the pods. But what that means is that obviously after we're gonna lose the pods, because we will lose the pods, we won't beat the tier 1 and tier 2 team. We are going to get better teams in the Swiss because we beat tier 4 team. That means we have we have a
2 and a 1,
2
yeah.
and 0, like a 1 and 2, basically
Hmm.
1 win and 2 losses instead of 3 losses when we had this year. So we didn't
Mm.
get this
So
time we
already
got
you get like paid into the mid tier.
yeah, we get paired into the more mid-team teams, and they are much better. When before we got paired into the like bottom tier, and obviously after we won 2 games, I mean we won in a draw and then won two. It was more or less the way that we sailed. We submarined at the bottom, and we
Hmm.
managed to get like probably not the worst teams, but I mean we did get the worst team. It was South Africa, but. We did get, a teams that we could beat, which is
Okay.
the thing. So I think that in order for us to actually be on a level to beat like higher tier team, we need the best players that we have playing. And right now it's going to be a difficult because a lot of the best players are just not available, to come.
Mm.
And then what we are left with is players that want to come, and that's what we have to,
Just
play
have to
with.
improve them, yeah.
Yeah, we try to improve them as much as we can. Obviously, it's not going to be, because we know more or less who are the best players in Israel. I mean, it's very small
It's a small
community.
community, yeah.
You realize who is better, like who has a chance to beat who. And yeah, so we are trying to get whoever we can to, to come. And if people are serious and they play, obviously, one of the, I think, most important thing on our chart is the sportsmanship because, like I said, we prefer bringing worse players that are better sportsmen. That
Hmm.
means that if they lose, they know how to lose. They act properly with their opponents. They say good game. They don't get mad, and they have this. They have the willingness to, like, even if they lose, they have the willingness to improve and continue doing what they need to do for the team. So if we send this same guy, like we did with Noam, every time against the same opponent just to lose again and again and again, and he still came out happy at the end, those are the kind of players we want because
Hmm.
it's not like we want you to lose, but if you have to lose, you need to know how to lose. And
Yeah.
Noam, I think it's one of the things Noam improved the most in this entire WTC is that he learned how to lose properly. And when I say properly, it's not like, being a loser. It's basically knowing how to lose and get the points. It's like
Hmm.
not losing completely. It's playing the game that you know you're going to lose, but you are playing it in a way that the
Keeping it
opponent
close, yeah.
cannot table you, cannot get 20-0 against you. You can always get some points. It's you need to know how to play like that. It's not something that a lot of players that just play singles know how to do because there you're just aiming for the win. And when you aim for the win, you aim for aggressive move, for risky moves that can
Yeah, you
bring you
take chances,
points
eh?
and can make you lose also. And
Hmm.
that's not how you play team games, unless obviously, I mean, usually, unless you know you can do it. Unless you know that it's a matchup that you can win, and you're putting your efforts into winning, if you know it's a matchup that you're not good against, you're going to play passive, you're going to bunker, and you're going to try to get as many points as you can when you lose, because every point counts in team games. It doesn't matter how many you can lose more games than you won, but because you got more points than your opponents in these games that you lost, you're going to still win.
Mm.
That's how team games work in Warhammer. And yeah, and I think that if we have those kind of players that have the mindset to play as a team, then we're going to do maybe even better than last year, than
Let's
this year.
hope so. Let's hope so. Definitely.
Yeah,
Sweet, man. Well, first of all, I want to say thanks for coming on.
yeah, sure. It
You,
was
I've
pleasure.
kept you chatting here for a while, so
Yeah,
we
I
learned.
like rambling.
No, it's good. It's good. I always love talking to you, especially when I know I just have to point you in the direction and say something about Warhammer, and we'll definitely
Yeah,
have a good conversation. So,
just mention Warhammer and I just go around, saying silly things.
yeah. So thank you very much, and I think the guys that will obviously meet across the tabletop quite a few times during this year,
Yeah,
running
yeah.
up to the WTC. And I hope, yeah, I wish you guys luck. Really hope that the team is going to come together and get a better result, like you say.